This week's GamesBeat Decides is brought to you by Game Dev Program at Intel. It's a software program where Intel will bring you a bunch of features and programs to help you make your games as excellent as possible. Whether you're developing, playing, or simply hosting games on a server, Intel makes it happen. And Intel wants to make sure the biggest innovations in gaming continue to happen on the PC by giving developers a hand with the Intel Game Dev Program. All you have to do is sign up, and Intel will provide the resources necessary to help you continue to innovate and make gaming even more amazing. Head on over to the Game Dev program at software.intel.com/gamedev to get started. Again, that's software.intel.com/gamedev. It's the internet. You're busy, so let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything in the world of gaming so you don't have to think about it for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is Mike Minotti.
And I'm not your host.
You're not the host. You're the co-host. You're the cooperative host.
Cooperative, yeah. I thought I was just kind of here.
Yeah, I forced you to show up just like everyone
I don't know if I have a
else.
title.
Yeah. So this week we're going to take it easy. We're going to be kind of lazy because it's 4th of July.
Holiday. Summer Games Done Quick is on.
Yeah, we're going to try to get out of here to catch the Sonic CD run. We're going to make this pretty quick. So no big topic, just the news, just some games that we've been playing, and then we're going to head on out and let you guys get back to your week. So first, though, I want to thank everyone for joining us. You can get more from me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, you can tweet us at GamesBeat or at GBDecides. Email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@VentureBeat.com. That's the plus sign. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. Finally, if you like the show, rate us on any of those platforms. It helps. So, Mike, we just got done playing a little bit of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, B Green's Battlegrounds, as I've begun calling it. How you like? Let's talk about that. I finally got you to play, and I can force you to talk about it on the podcast.
It was funny how you did force me. You were like, "Hey, could you play a match of this for me for a story?" I'm like,
and you totally deleted it from your computer. You had to reinstall it.
I had to reinstall. I was like, "Yeah, I thought it was like something for the story was basically you making me play it again. That was the story. I think you were just bored and wanted to play PlayerUnknown's Battleground during work."
So I stayed up way too late on Friday night playing it, and then I wouldn't let myself play it all weekend. And so I came into work thinking I need a reason to play this game again today.
You're like, we're going to talk about the monumental shift in shooters. I'm like, yeah, okay.
And it totally just became us trying to win. And you did. I mean, you did pretty good.
You said only one round, and after the one round, I was like, no, I want to play another. And then the second round was like a total disaster because he put us in a boat that just drove around an island until we slowly died. Yeah,
the boat was a beautiful idea. Yeah. It was a beautiful idea.
Game, we had it going on the third game. The third game was intense.
We were taking people out, and then I died really well. Okay, to be fair, we both died.
You died stupid at the time. It seemed like a pretty stupid way to die.
Yes, yeah. I felt really shameful about how bad I died because we were taking people out. We were coming up behind different groups, and we shot them. And I took out one guy. You took out another guy in the first group because we're playing duos. And then we ran through a field and we saw another pair of players and we were going to take them out and we got in a long gunfight with them. And I flanked around and I got the guy and I thought we had taken out both because it said 2 kills. And I forgot the first group. I got 1 kill there. So then I run up to start looting the guy and his friend was just laying there with a shotgun and shot me right in the face. But you went on and you got pretty close to winning. I mean, got close. But then what happened, Mike?
I got nervous and my finger twitched and I accidentally shot my gun when there was 10 people left in a very small circle. And I'm like, oh,
Mike,
God.
What's happening? Are you getting shot? Are you getting shot? Oh, no. And no, that's not what happened.
No, I accidentally pushed the shoot button. And then, I was like, oh, God, I hope nobody heard that. I died immediately. It's like a beat. It's like, brrr, and I was out. But yeah, that was fun. I have been kind of critical of the game's kind of, early accessing nature. It definitely feels a lot better than the last time I played it. It's definitely, a fun thing to play right now.
Yeah, there's still the jank, it's still the animations look kind of cheap and stuff like that, but it's running better. You can run and pick up items at the same time, which is something you probably didn't even notice is an improvement because you would just think, oh yeah, it wasn't that broken when I played it, but it was. So yeah, I'm glad we played. We're going to try to do that more often. Yeah, so I guess we could just kind of jump into our other games we've been playing. Do you want to start, or I can take off with Zelda?
Well, let's hear about Zelda. So I assume you're playing the DLC.
I'm playing the DLC, yeah. So, I mean, I think you got to start by saying that I'm glad that Zelda has DLC. I want a reason to go back to this game. I have not done the hard mode yet, and I've not done the trials mode yet, where you like start out with nothing and work your way through a series of bosses to try to try to like basically get the ultimate version of the Master Sword. I haven't done either of those things yet, which seem like the meat of this DLC.
Right.
There's also like kind of chores where you go looking around the world. You get clues about where these different items are hidden, and these are all the special costumes. Like I got
like the Tingle one.
I got the Tingle one. I got the Phantom one from Phantom Hourglass, which actually looks pretty cool, even though I don't love that game. Sure. I got a few others.
Isn't it weird how like there's a lot of this retro stuff, and it's like for some games you're like, why like Phantom Hourglass and stuff, but there's never a whole lot of representation for like Link to the Past or even Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, I wonder if they just like don't know how to bring those games into the 3D and like maintain it. I don't know. You're right, because I mean all the other games that they are bringing forward are at least 3D in some nature, right? Twilight Princess, even Phantom Hourglass had 3D graphics.
Yeah, I mean, although Link to Between Worlds is about as 3D as Phantom Hourglass, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely
right.
Know.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird that like hey, why don't you have like that rabbit guy's outfit in there?
I hope that means that they just want to keep those things separate, so that means we're getting another like Link Between Worlds coming soon, but probably not.
Probably not.
So I think yes, there's some stuff here that I haven't experienced yet. The stuff I have experienced was, it's cool to get those costumes. They do a lot of the same things. Like I think the Tingle costume, you run faster at night, which is, I think there's 2 other outfits that do that same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, we'll see. I'll try to upgrade them, see if they do anything else. But yeah, I think the other issue is that a lot of the things that make this a DLC pack are things that would definitely be just updates in other games, free updates. The map, like the hero's path where you could see where you've been. There's a couple other things like that.
Sure, I mean, like that stuff, yeah, but not the sword. I think you're right in that sword quest and hard mode are kind of the meat of it. Like that stuff people would charge for, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
totally.
Mode, but
yeah,
probably.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it just I don't like the idea that people who aren't spending the money aren't getting some of these quality.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like maybe they could have just given Heroes Path to everybody and not make it part of like the DLC.
Yeah, I mean Nintendo. I get why they're doing this. They're trying to sweeten the pot to get people to buy it. But I don't know. People are going to want this for like the big DLC coming down the line. You have to buy them together. Like this is DLC Pack 1. DLC Pack 2 comes out later this year, and that's a big story mission. People are going to want one or the other, and they're going to, so $20 for both of them, they're going to do it. I don't know if they really needed to sweeten the pot that much. Yeah. And instead they could have just sent out this stuff for free, like the map stuff for free, to get people to come back and then maybe buy the game or buy the DLC them like separately. But
Adventures of Nintendo in DLC land, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel like the game's so good. Nintendo's doing some smart stuff with online games in some ways. They are doing crossplay with Rocket League and Minecraft. Like you can use Xbox Live on a Nintendo Switch to sign into your Minecraft account, which is nuts. So I'm like, hey, Nintendo's learning. But then I don't want to give them a pass on some of these other things that are kind of weird. Overall, though, I'm playing the game a lot. I'm gonna finally get like the last 13 dungeons, the quest, the little quest things
the shrines
that I have. Yeah, the shrines. That's right. Yeah, that is the word I'm looking for. And then I'm going to see kind of maybe then I'll do the trials and the hard mode. But who knows?
See, you're trying to get all the shrines, and I'm trying to get all 120 stars in Mario. I'm at like one. Yeah, it's like one. I'm in the 100s now. I'm getting there.
What are you going to do after that? Do you have a game lined up after 120 stars in Mario?
Well, I'm working on the Final Fantasy 12 remaster review. So I don't have anything to really say about that right now, but that I think embargo's coming up-ish. So I'll probably focus on that a little bit. But besides that, I've been playing. Actually got into Final Fantasy XIV again because everybody's kind of going on about how good the new expansion for that is. But it's kind of weird with the expansions for those games because they're pretty much all end game content for the most part. So I can't. Even though I got it, like I got a code for the expansion and I got into it, like I can't play Stormblood right now. My character was level like 44 in the the original max was 50, and then the last expansion, Heaven's Ward, like raised that up to something, I forget what. So actually still, like, if I want to do Stormblood, I have to still finish the main stuff, then go do Heaven's Ward, and then do that. But it's still like, it's kind of fun anyways. Like, I'm still actually glad I got back into it. It's just really pretty MMOs.
You always kind of do this with MMOs. I'm always curious about like your feelings about dipping into them like this, because I know how you feel about WoW is your permanent MMO.
Sure.
But you always kind of, whenever there's new content in these other ones that you like, you still give them a chance. I mean, is there ever going to be a situation where a game like even Final Fantasy XIV, which I know you like a lot, could replace WoW as your permanent MMO?
No, not really, because, I mean, it's not even a matter of quality to a degree. It's just, you know, WoW's always the one that when the expansion comes out, I have like a dozen friends who are going to be in there playing it. Mm-hmm. And I can never be like, hey, we should all play Final Fantasy XIV instead. That's just not going to happen. But the good thing about Final Fantasy XIV is that the leveling experience is so enjoyable, and that's kind of what I'm playing that game for. I'm not really playing it for that sort of end game content, whereas World of Warcraft is pretty much all end game content stuff for me. But it is nice and easy to get back into for the most part. The nice thing too is like on the top left, it literally just says what the next main story quest is, so you can just kind of do those if you need to and whatnot. Again, I love like the rotations in that game. So I'm a black mage, and it's like this whole thing of like when you're using ice ability, when you're using like ice magic, you have like a stacking buff that it's like when you're using ice magic, the spells aren't very strong, but you're regaining MP. And fire magic is like strong, but it costs a lot of MP. So you're kind of like dancing between the two in this really interesting way to conserve your mana. Yeah, it's really neat. I like that. It's a neat rotation. It's not just like, there's a lot of World of Warcraft rotations. Sometimes they really just push these buttons in this order, and maybe like a proc will come up, and that'll switch it up a little bit. But it's not too much interesting outside of that. This stuff's really cool. I really
like that. It sounds like a system where you can kind of begin to feel it, and like you described it nicely. I think with the way it's a dance almost.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think I will actually get to try the new classes at level 50. What they added, Samurai and Red Mage. I'm really excited to try out Red Mage actually. So I can do that even before like getting to like some of this other Stormblood stuff. Everybody was really high on the expansion. It's getting really good reviews.
Yeah, totally. It makes me regret never ever playing any MMO. Really,
it's hard. It's like in the world where I had infinite time, I would be playing Final Fantasy XIV constantly because it is a lot of fun. I really like it, and like I think it would be cool to like be really into it and like have like be like some sort of top guildy thing and like have all this awesome end game stuff. But it's a commitment.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm giving that time to another game. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Mike, you want to get onto the news? Because I just got like the 10-minute warning that Sonic CD is going to start.
Oh, man.
my Windows 10 chime popped up.
Don't worry, I'm actually watching the Freedom Planet run right now. We have
all right, perfect. Minutes. So, yeah, you could be my human chime. There we go. All right, so let's just do this. The first news item is Summer Games Done Quick. What have you thought of it so far?
It's great. I haven't watched everything, which I think it would be weird if I did. But last night I really got to watch the Metroid Prime run and the Symphony of the Night run. And those are both super fun.
For anyone that doesn't know, so Summer Games Done Quick, it is the speed running community primarily that exists on Twitch, coming together in one place to speedrun a bunch of games to also raise money for charity. We've talked about it before. It's a really cool thing. They do it in the winter. They do it in the summer.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's super fun. They just do, like he was saying, Metroid Prime, a great game to watch anyhow.
Yeah, they got 100% it in like an hour and a half. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yes, and it's just, if you like if you have some games that you like from the past, like, you know, anything from like a couple years ago back, they speedrun just about anything.
I mean, this event started with Nier Automata. That was crazy. And
there's always a couple newer ones like Nier Automata. There's also going to be, I think this is the first event where they have Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Is Breath of the Wild on there? Because I thought I didn't see it, and I was shocked it would.
They were talking about it during the thing.
So it must be one of those like incentive ones where like
it might be a race incentive.
Because I'd be shocked if it wasn't in there. I mean, come on.
At this point, yeah, because that game got ripped apart. It could be sped run very fast. So I think they are going to do it. But yeah, so it's an excellent thing. They raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity.
Usually
the Summer Games Done
million a lot of times.
Yeah, and the summer one does it for Doctors Without Borders, and the winter ones prevent cancer. So it's a really cool thing. It's on twitch.tv/SGDQ.
If you go to twitch.tv, it's pretty much always the featured channel.
Yeah, it's on the front page. It might be Games Done Quick, actually. It's just what the...
Games Done Quick, I think, is the channel name, yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to be doing Sonic CD soon if you're listening to this live.
Yeah, big Sonic block for a bit, man.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of classic Mega Man games this year. But there's a Mega Man X block, but I think Mega Man 4 is the only classic Mega Man.
Yeah. If you just Google Games Done Quick, there's a schedule. It has everything on there. It's it's worth kind of setting some time aside for the games that you really like. All right, more people bought Crash Bandicoot in its first week in the UK than Horizon Zero Dawn. I believe this makes it the top-selling single platform game in the UK so far this year, which is kind of crazy because that means it beat out. I think that's what they said. I think that would mean it beat out Zelda, but at least beat out Horizon Zero Dawn, which sold a couple million copies. Crash is still big, I guess.
Good.
It's $40. It was $40, right?
It's $40.
So that helps. It helps
right,
it sell units. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of was smiling at the things a bit, not because I needed validation, I guess, but you never want to criticize other people's reviews. People have different opinions, but I do kind of hate when people are talking about old games and they'll say things like, "Oh, this is really dated," or "This." They'll kind of throw words out based on saying, "Oh, this isn't good anymore." And something like Crash Bandicoot is good still.
No, we didn't talk about your review on last week's podcast, right? I don't think we did. Maybe
no, we did not. I think I was playing it, maybe.
Yeah, we did a video of it. I don't know if that went up, but you liked it.
No, remember, I wasn't recording.
That's right. So yeah, that one's lost to time. But let's just cover it real quick. You liked it. It's a remake of the first three games. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I give it a 90 because I think the three games have all held up really well, and the remaking it's great. It looks beautiful.
Yes, it looks gorgeous.
It's about as good as you can do with this kind of a package.
So I kind of just took your word for it because I watched you play it and you were telling me about it, and I kind of bought into it. I'm like, okay, this seems like a game that I'm at least going to try to get my hands on a little bit to play. But you're saying that other reviews were kind of more down on it because it hasn't aged appropriately.
Not a ton. I mean, it still has an average of an 80 on a Metacritic. But with these kind of things, there always will be people that'll say, "Oh, actually, this game's old now." I mean, it could happen with anything. People would say it about things of the past if they could,
Yeah, too. Yeah, people do say that about Ocarina of Time now, though.
Yeah, people say about Ocarina of Time, and I'll be like, people will say about Final Fantasy VII, and to me, it's bonkers. You could play Final Fantasy VII right now. It's still very similar to the experience you were having back then to me. I'm kind of just having a opinion. It's a retro games more so than other people, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I could see the game. Some people not appreciating those mechanics because it is different. It is hard. It is challenging, and it's a different pathway for platformers than what actually ended up happening, which is open 3D world platformers or just 2D side scrollers. And this one tried to play it down the middle and did something very interesting that way, but. Either way, it's selling. People are still into Crash in a way that I think people weren't expecting. I wasn't expecting it to sell better than Horizon Zero Dawn.
Maybe not that well, but people have been kind of asking for this for a bit now. It seems like every other month, the tops. Yeah, I know. Yeah, people do always ask for things sometimes, and it's hard to tell. But sometimes people are asking things so much, it's it's kind of how right now all the Star Trek fans are asking for a next gen-y kind of thing. When that finally happens, it's going to be a big success, and everyone's going to act surprised.
Yeah,
the same thing.
Exactly. Okay. Do they remake Spyro next? Is that the next one, or is that?
Yeah, I think Spyro's going to kind of get some, get the piggyback off the success of this one. Heck, you can even get Vicarious Visions to do it. Why not?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the other one that was a trilogy. What else are you going to do? Ape Escape? I don't know.
Well, they could do Ape Escape. I'd be into that. In Vicarious Visions, you're right. The developer that did this remake, they deserve some credit because it looks really good. Now
the issue is where does actual Crash go from here? Because it's still kind of in the same spot where, it's still Activision that owns that thing. It still doesn't have Naughty. These are great because they're still basically Naughty Dog games.
Yeah, exactly.
They're essentially they're games that Naughty Dog made. They just look better. So I'm sure they want to make a new Crash Bandicoot, but if they don't get a Naughty Dog or something kind of like that making this, it's going to be the same problem that all those other Crash games had, where it's just I don't know.
It feels like if this were the movie industry, they would just be like, okay, we're gonna get a young director that loves Crash Bandicoot, and we're gonna hand it off to them and let them do it. But that doesn't happen in gaming. Could you just get Vicarious Visions to make their own Crash Bandicoot now? It kind of feels
like with that Sonic guy who remastered all the older Sonic games for
it kind of feels like if the game
PC.
Yeah, Christian Whitehead.
Sonic Mania.
Yeah, Christian Whitehead. Yeah, they should totally Christian Whitehead this. if the game is selling this well and it looks this good, it's almost like, okay, yeah, Vicarious Visions, you're really good at these remakes, but maybe it's time to like let them step up and see if they can do it.
I also
they almost deserve it.
I actually also kind of hope that they, I don't know if I hope it, but I wonder if they understand that there is value in kind of keeping this tied to the PlayStation brand. Where I think it hurts Crash Bandicoot as soon as it shows up on Xbox One.
Yes, without a doubt. Yes. I mean, there were
if they
Crash
were smart,
games that showed up on
Xbox and GameCube, and no one liked them. And even Xbox 360, I think.
Just a bad idea. I think...
it's just weird.
I mean, Sony has to take some ownership of that, which it seems like they have. It seems like that's what led to this. And if they keep doing that, even if it is a character that belongs to Activision, I mean, just make it part of your Destiny deal. Make a little rider in that contract. It just says, hey...
If Activision was smart, even if there was no like incentive from Sony, I still think it would ultimately be better for that specific brand.
No, you're right, but
be a Sony thing.
Activision would never do that, though. Yeah, I don't think Activision thinks about it that way. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But
it kills the brand as soon as it's not like a nostalgic PlayStation thing. In a way,
right.
Maybe not nostalgic's the word, but I don't know.
I mean, you want to feel
that's when it worked.
You know what it is? It's identity. People want to identify with their games in a way that has kind of been lost. Like if you think about like any series that's had like a bunch of subtitles, like Need for Speed. Like there's been a million Need for Speed games, and what's the identity of that series? Who is the person that identifies with that and goes, yeah, it just kind of gets lost. And if you take Crash Bandicoot away from the PlayStation brand exclusively, you suddenly it loses like the thing that you can attach yourself to as a person who owns a PlayStation console and maybe considers yourself a PlayStation fan. You want to be able to say, this is one of the games I play on this system because it's here and it's exclusive and it's one of the reasons I purchased this thing in the first place. If they take that away, it actually is a net negative by putting it on other systems, for sure.
Yeah, it's just the people who really like Crash Bandicoot are PlayStation fans. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it shows up on Xbox, it kind of turns them off it.
Yep.
More so than it attracts Xbox players, I think.
For real. So, next story, Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot boxes spark pay-to-win fears. So
explain what this is exactly.
So I actually watched a video about this morning, and I opened the video, and I'm like, oh, people are complaining about microtransactions again. Get over it.
That's kind of like that is kind of like my snap reaction without actually knowing what's happening.
Yeah, because like games still cost $60. They haven't had a price increase in forever. This is how we're making up for that difference because people aren't going to be okay with $70 games or $80 games, so they have to make money other ways. But it does sound like Star Wars Battlefront 2 might have pay to win, where people can.
Why would you make a loop? It's not just aesthetic stuff.
It's not just aesthetic stuff, is what it's sounding like. It sounds like you can get buffs that increase.
How do you make that mistake?
I don't know.
How do you not understand why?
How do you not just like look left?
Working?
Look left and you see Overwatch. You look right and you see like any other game, Counter-Strike, a million other successful games, shooters especially, and just say, oh, yeah, just different costumes and shit. Like I mean, they had
Star Wars. There's plenty of freaking costumes and stuff.
Yeah, there's a million characters. I mean, I guess they want to keep the hero characters things, and I think that
even
maybe
without that, man, there's
some of the buffs. Yeah, like that's what they did in the first game. There were a million costumes, a million different variations on the Stormtrooper outfit or whatever. But yeah, it sounds like people who have a lot of money are going to be able to spend a lot of money to have a buff in every game that you have to either work, you have to either unlock, and so it'll take you into the match to get it, or you might not get it at all. Like I mean, you might have to go a couple matches without having one.
That's bonkers. That'd be so stupid.
So I think we're gonna have to wait and see how this fully plays out. Maybe there's some misunderstanding here. This is probably something we should look into more and maybe talk about further next week and kind of just see if we can fully understand it and discuss it and see if there's any wiggle room for them to make this work. And if it really works like I think it does, then probably not. Right. Okay. Last story. Sony pulls world's fastest platinum trophy game from PlayStation Network. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I heard about this.
So it's like, I can't even remember the name of the game. It was some like SEO title. Yeah. It was like, 5-star, 1,000, 20-minute platinum trophy or something.
Right.
And it was like 89 cents on the PSN store. And, Sony pulled it because there was backlash against it. And my thing is, maybe we're being a bit too contrarian here. Like we're like, oh, get over microtransactions and get over this, because I never, ever, ever, ever would have heard of this game if people weren't complaining about it. Like, if people just like didn't like bring it up and like put it in their videos on YouTube to complain about and get like hundreds of thousands of hits, which is like the whole reason this whole thing exists.
I guess there's been some people in the know. I don't know. Is achievement hunting a thing like it used to be?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, some people, I guess, were. I mean, why make this game?
I get why you want to ban it because it is a gaming system, but I mean, I assume Sony has some sort of process for games getting on the PSN store. I don't know why they were okay with it in the first place.
Yeah, and but I mean, if they're like, it's sort of like, who cares? Like, just don't buy it. And then this probably means that some other little developer could like get their game on there because Sony doesn't have a very strict system. Like, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I mean, I guess if you take trophies seriously, then it's unfair that people just download this game and get all the trophy points or whatever.
Yeah, but I guess, but it has like it's like a puzzle game where like you just slide pictures around, like a slide puzzle game, to reconstitute the pictures, and that's all it is. And the developer says he will like send you the ways to solve the puzzles the fastest way possible, so you can get the trophy really fast. And I guess if people do take the trophies seriously, that's the one thing. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more people complaining just because they don't like the idea of shitty games being on the store. And I said this on Twitter. It's like, man, if you go like if you can't stand the idea of bad products being sold at a store, like don't ever go to the grocery store, because like there's ripoffs of like crackers, like Nabisco
Sony's
cracker,
in a place where they can
brand.
curate. I don't want to see the PSN store turning into like Steam nowadays, right?
I know, but why not? Like what's like?
Because that sucks.
But why? I don't understand. I don't understand why. Because do you ever just browse the store? Like don't you just always kind of get curated?
I will on my Vita, because I like to search for like RPGs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, but this game, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like these kind of games are going to show up like in your search.
I don't think it is a quality. I think it's mostly the trophy thing is why people want it off. I think
that could be many of the videos I saw didn't care about like how easy it was to get a trophy. They just cared about the crappy game being sold. So maybe you're right. If people are coming at it from that angle where they're like, hey, I work hard to get these trophies in these games or whatever, that's not my thing. So it's hard for me to like recognize that. But yes, I can appreciate that argument. But if people are just worried about PlayStation Network becoming Steam, that's something I don't really. It's never going to bother me. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Steam has a lot of crappy games in it, and I almost never see them, and I still get all the games I want. I mean, discovery is a problem, I guess, for smaller games, but I don't know. It was always going to be hard. Like, there's more people making games now than ever. You have to find other ways to stand out.
I feel like an indie game on PlayStation 4 could still maybe be like a big deal. I guess not that much now I think about it really anymore already.
Yeah, maybe.
It is a different world. It's far from those days when it was like, it's summer of games on Xbox Live.
Right, yes. Yes.
And I guess part of me is just like, part of me also wishes we can come back to that in a bit, but I guess it's also good that more people are making games and releasing games, but it is also like...
Right, and it's easier than ever to put those games on.
Each one of these is like less valuable.
Yes, I appreciate the nostalgia for that curated Summer of Arcade. I do miss that too, but yeah, we're never going to get that back. The toothpaste is out of the bottle or whatever. There are too many games being made by too many people, and if it means like, I still want all those games to have a chance to be sold though, and that's where I come in at. I want the rules to be lax, and if that means sometimes a cheap little achievement hunter, bait game gets on the store, I'll live, because that means some other small developers probably getting their game on the store as well.
I agree with you to a point, but I think there's a line, and I think Sony can have some kind of curation where something that is literally just something where something is dumb puzzle, so people can get trophies, and the developer will tell you how to solve them faster. I think there's maybe the line is somewhere above that.
You're right. It doesn't hurt that there would be a line, or that they pull this game. Just if the game does get through, I don't care. Like, I just can't imagine caring that, like, the way that some people really did.
Do you remember remember like the early days of Xbox 360 where like everybody was like renting that Avatar game, Legend of Korra, because you can get 1,000 points in that the Turtles game. There was like a basketball game like that. That King Kong game was like kind of popular because you could get the achievements in that one. Because like, especially very early on, they're like, all right, you have to put achievements in your game. Like, what's that? There has to be 1,000 points. Like, all right. You hit people 5 times, you get 200 points. Is that a lot? Okay, you get 200 points 10 times. Hit them 10 times, get 500. Sure. Like, no one knew.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, people were just throwing those games on top, or those achievements on top of anything because it was early on, and no one understood.
It was like mandated to them. You had to have them. They're like,
yeah,
okay.
They're like, we're just like porting this game. Like we were making it for Xbox One or for the original Xbox. Now we're just porting it here. Can you just like chill out? But nope. No, put 1,000 achievement points in there. Yeah, we're far from that too. People have figured out achievements now. That's such a huge thing that people almost don't care anymore about that stuff. I don't know.
Got 100%. The Gears of War 4, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Who said all
1,000 achievements there.
What's it?
Yeah. No, I don't remember. All right, Mike. Anything else? I think that's going to wrap it up. We should get going. That was a half hour of power.
There we go.
All right. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. You could find me on Twitter at Jeff Grudd this week. Grudd? No. Grubb. Jeff Grubb on Twitter. And I sometimes make videos on my YouTube page. Yeah. Well done, Mike. YouTube.com/Jeffrey Grubb. Mike, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
You can find me at Tolkoto on Twitter, TOLKOTO. Also do the Exploding Barrel podcast with my brother every week. We're almost 10 years old in a couple months. That's ebpodcast.com. You can also just always find me at GamesBeat writing away. You guys planning anything for your 10th anniversary? Nothing concrete yet. I don't know. Maybe I'll put together a fancy press release. See if I can get iTunes to feature us. Like, just so I say, hey, look, we're 10 years old. Throw me a bone. A really good idea. You should definitely do that. Like, what the heck? I've seen enough press releases at this point. I can make a press release. Just copy and paste, man. Yeah, just replace Electronic Arts with Exploding Barrel. There you go. All right. Cool, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye. Open salami.